What is up, all you individuals out there? It is me, full-time anime man, and I am back with the series that started this all. What if Deku was in the Dino Squad, Part 7? Now, I missed this series so much because the whole time that I've been away from it, I have been working on what if Deku was a firewolf and what if Deku had Maleficent's powers. It has been too long, too far. No, it's actually been nearby. So, without that out of the way, wait a minute, Taser, you got something you want to say? No? No, she's got nothing to say. So, with that out of the way, this is What If Deku Was in the Dino Squad, Part 7. Hope y'all enjoy. Where we last left off, Izuku just survived the attack on the USJ. Walking home, wondering what was going through his psyche, his thinking was interrupted by a limousine driving next to him. It stopped, revealing Victor Veloci, saying, "I want to help you." Izuku looks at Victor with wide eyes. He gets in a fighting stance. His guard is up, ready for a fight. Victor says, "It's okay. It's just you and me, I promise." Victor then gets out of the limo and says, "So, you're the perfect dinosaur I saw on that video. Your transformation was miraculous." Izuku interrupts him, saying, "Get to the point." "Very well. I've been watching you, Izuku. When you changed into your dinosaur, I have this radar that goes off every time you change. When you were at school and you fully changed, your vitals look normal. But your last transformation, it was off the charts, not normal at all. Can I ask you what happened that made this radar go wild when you changed?" Izuku just stands there quiet for a few seconds, and he finally speaks. "I felt rage and hatred. I wanted nothing but to hurt the bad guys." Izuku looks back up to Victor, and he remembers what Roger said about him. He's very dangerous, and you should stay away from him." Izuku then says out loud, "No, I can't trust you. Now leave me alone." Izuku walks away while Victor tries to speak to him. "Izuku, you need help, and I'm the only one who can do that." Izuku continues to walk home. He opens the door to his apartment, and he walks to his room. And as soon as he closes the door, he feels a rush of pain in his head. The pain is so intense that he leans against the wall, and his back slides down the wall that he was leaning on. And after a few seconds of uncontrollable breathing and his headaches, he passes out in the corner of his room. We fade to black. Izuku wakes up in the middle of what appears to be a forest, with all trees everywhere. He gets up slowly, looking around in confusion. He says to himself, Where am I?" As he continues to look around, the ground then starts to shake. "What was that?" said Izuku. The ground shakes again. To Izuku, the way that the ground shakes, it's as if something gigantic was coming his way. "What is that?" Izuku looks around and on his guard, but each quake that happened, Izuku gets a bad headache. The steps got closer and closer, and Izuku's head kept hurting. The quakes stopped. Izuku looks around at the trees. He knows something is out there. Turning in every direction, Izuku thinks it might be clear. That was until he heard a growling noise right behind him. He slowly turned around. To him, while on his level, nothing was there. That was until he heard the noise again, and he slowly looked up. And what he saw shocked him from his very core. A Tyrannosaurus Rex that resembled his was standing right there looking at Izuku. This thing had a look in its eyes that threw Izuku off balance, a look of lunchtime. A few seconds, the ferocious beast then gave out a loud roar that sent Izuku running for his life. Izuku passes a big tree, a small tree, a shrub, to bushes, to rocks everywhere. The dinosaur is not far behind him. He was catching up to Izuku fast, with an intent that was unknown to Izuku. Izuku continues to run, slowly getting tired of running, until he comes across an edge of a cliff. Izuku had no choice but to stop. Izuku then turned around to face the ferocious dinosaur. It emerged from the trees. All Izuku could do was watch as the carnivorous beast approached. As the ground shook when the Tyrannosaurus Rex took every step, it would get closer and heavier. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is now face to face with Izuku, just standing there, looking down at him. It looks like it's about to end. That was until the T-Rex then leaned down to Izuku's level, face to face, eyes to eyes.
Bad people.
Izuku looks back in disbelief and says, You can talk? The T-Rex continues to talk.
They were all bad people who needed to be purged. They deserve death.
Izuku couldn't quite put his finger on it, but something about this T-Rex reminded him of how he was feeling at the USJ. After a few seconds, Izuku speaks. I don't know what you are, but I think I'm starting to understand. You're my anger, and somehow you managed to mutate as well. But how? And why just you? Izuku looks around and he sees 8 shadowy figures that are just hiding behind the trees. What are those? He looks closer and he could have sworn that it was sort of resemblance to people. He then looks back to the Tyrannosaurus Rex and says, I don't know what's going on, but hopefully I can figure it out. The T-Rex continues to stand there. All of a sudden, Izuku's head begins to pound, and the world around him begins to warp. And all of a sudden, it's all black. Izuku wakes up in the hospital bed with an IV attached to him, and along with a heart monitor. He looks around, and his mother is sitting in a chair twiddling her thumbs, waiting. Izuku calls to her. Mom? Inko looks up and is happy that her son is finally awake. She then gets up from her chair and says, Izuku, how do you feel? Are you okay? Izuku then looks to his mom in confusion and says, Yeah, I'm fine. Mom, why am I in a hospital? Inko then says, When I came home, I finished cooking dinner. I called to you, but you didn't respond. So, when I came to your room to check on you, I saw you were in the corner of your room. You were burning up, and you were hardly breathing. I got scared, so I took you to the hospital. You've been out for 2 days now. Izuku covers his face in confusion. What is happening to me? I need someone who knows a thing or two about this. Izuku thinks for a moment, and Roger and Max pop in his head. But at the same time, so was school. Wait, you said I was out for 2 days? What about school? Inko says they called and said since the incident happened, they're giving all students 1 week off until the matter is sorted. Izuku gives out a sigh of relief. Inko says, Are you okay, Izuku? Is what happened that day done anything to you? Izuku thinks for a moment, but he can't see a reason for what's happening to him. He then turns to his mom and says, "No, Mom, I'm fine, thank you." A few hours later, Izuku is released from the hospital. After him and his mother made it home, Izuku says to his mom that he will be in his room making a call, and it might be a few hours until he comes out. Inko nods, and Izuku goes to his room to call the rest of the Dino Squad on his computer. He video chats Max, the leader of the Dino Squad. "Oh, hey Izuku, good to see you." "Hey Max, there's something I need to inform you of." "Oh? Well, what's that?" Before Izuku could say anything, he is interrupted by the rest of the group walking in.
"Hey, is that Izuku on the screen? Hey, I want to talk to him." "Hey, Izuku, my name's Fiona. I can turn into a Spinosaurus. Isn't that cool?"
Izuku, being a bit confused, then gets that this is another part of the team. And he says, "Oh, hi Fiona. Yeah, that's a pretty neat trick." "Hey, Izuku, my name's Buzz. I'm a pterodactyl, and I'm the fastest flyer in the group." Hi there. That's pretty cool to be the fastest flyer." "Hey there, buddy. I'm Caruso. Real quick, do you know that your video has 10 million views?" Izuku just sits there in confusion and says, "Oh, hi. No, I didn't know that. I'm not really on the internet much." Izuku looks behind them and sees Roger and says, "Hey, Roger, how are you doing?" Roger then responds saying, "Hey man, Izuku, how you doing?" "Actually, I got some news I need to inform you all of." Max then says, "Oh well, what's up?" Izuku then tells the Dino Squad about his encounter with Victor Veloci. All 5 of them gasp. Max then says, "Well, what did you do? Did he follow you home?" "No," said Izuku, "and I made sure that he didn't. He told me about a machine he had. But before I tell you, I need to tell you something that happened the other day." Izuku then tells the team about his encounter with the League of Villains. How he nearly lost control of himself. Roger then says, "Wow, that's really interesting. You nearly lost control when you saw a person you care about nearly seconds away from death. That's a first." "Yeah," said Izuku. Izuku then told them about the machine that Victor told them about. "Its purpose is to take my readings, but at the USJ, he said it nearly went off the charts. So when he asked me what was going through my mind, I left before I could say anything else." A few seconds of silence goes by and Max speaks up. "Hang on, let me go get Miss Moyahan. She'll know what to do about this." "Okay," says Izuku. A few seconds later, Roger then returns with Miss Moyahan. She speaks. "Hello, Izuku. I was just told about your situation. How are you feeling right now?" "I'm feeling stable for now, but there's something else I need to inform you all about." Izuku then tells the rest of the story about his dream that he had about his anger taking the form of his T-Rex. "That is truly interesting," said Miss Moyahan. "I'll have to look into it. But for now, Izuku, is there a way that you could send me a sample of your DNA?" Yeah, sure," said Izuku. "I'll be sure to send you some. Thank you for taking my call." That's what we're here for, Izuku. I assure you, we will get to the bottom of this." "Okay, goodbye for now," said Izuku. "Good luck," said Miss Moyahan. The call ends, and Izuku takes a sigh of relief. The next day, Izuku forwarded a package of his own blood to Miss Moyahan so that she could examine his DNA, because since he has a sort of mutation ability, hopefully she could find something. We then skip back to school. Everyone is in their seats, talking about how much they have seen themselves on the news. A few minutes later, Aizawa comes into the room, all covered in bandages. Ida speaks up. Mr. Aizawa, are you feeling alright? Aizawa speaks. I'm fine. My pain doesn't matter. What does matter, what is more important, is that you all have a lot of training to do, for there is a sports festival coming. If you succeed, you'll get the attention of hero corporations. Everyone talks amongst themselves, but the person who sticks out the most about this is Uraraka, saying with a little too much determination,
Let's do the best we can to win this sports festival.
Izuku grows concerned, saying, Are you alright, Ochako? Usually you're calm. But Uraraka continues to preach.
Everyone, I'm gonna give it my all.
Everyone continues to look at Uraraka, a little confused but more afraid of her. After all was said and done, everyone was about to leave to go home. But when Izuku opened the door, a crowd of students are outside their homeroom. Izuku speaks. What is going on here? Bakugo then walks up to the front door and said, They're here to scope out the competition. He takes a step closer to the nearest person and says, At least now they know what a future pro hero looks like. A few seconds of silence goes by and a boy with purple hair coming to the front and says, So, this is Class 1A. I gotta say, I'm not impressed. He then looks to the rest of the class of 1A and says, Just so you know, if any of us do better than any of you in the festival, they have to trade people out to make room for better students. So I expect you all to give your best, because I won't hesitate to take your spot. Or someone else here. There's a guy whose quirk is practically a beast. Kirishima then speaks up saying, Oh yeah? Well, we got a guy who could turn into a dinosaur, and who practically took down the strongest villain at the USJ. What else do you got? Touché, said the purple-headed boy. After that was said and done, Izuku makes his way home. After a few minutes later, Izuku is at his computer and he sees that he missed a call from Miss Moynihan. He immediately calls her back, and instantly she picks up the call saying, Izuku! Izuku jumps from the flash reaction and says, Yes? Izuku, listen to me. I've just got done examining your blood, and it's not good. Izuku's face grows concerned and says, What is it, Miss Moynihan? Miss Moynihan then takes a deep breath and says, You're becoming a dinosaur to a point where you won't be able to change back into a man. Izuku's eyes widen from fear. What did you find? Asked Izuku. Your human DNA is rapidly changing into dinosaur DNA. I'm sorry to say this, Izuku, but I don't know what to do about this to help you. Izuku grows scared, afraid of himself. In his mind, he's thinking, what am I going to do if I lose control and I attack the wrong person? Miss Moynihan then speaks up saying, What have you been doing? Did you take anything that might have something to do with this? Izuku thinks and says, No, nothing I can think of. Well, except that all my... Wait. Izuku, in his mind, says, Wait, one for all. Could that be the problem? Miss Moynihan calls Izuku's name, and that snaps him out of it, and says, I have to go. Miss Moynihan then says, Wait, we need to figure this out first, Izuku. Izuku says, I think I know what is happening, but I have to go. Bye. Izuku then hangs up the call, and then he calls Toshinori. After a few rings, he picks up. Hello? What's up, young Midoriya? Izuku speaks. All Might, I have a question. What's up? It's about One for All. A moment of silence goes by, and Izuku speaks. Does it do something to the person's quirk? Another moment of silence brushes by, and Toshinori finally speaks. Listen, young Midoriya, when you take on the quirk, a part of you becomes a part of it. In other words, your dinosaurs should be becoming much stronger. You can feel it, right? A few seconds of silence goes by, and Toshinori speaks up. Not before Izuku gives out his thoughts. That does explain it. All for One is doing this to me. It's making me into a real dinosaur. Toshinori then speaks up. Young Midoriya, are you okay? Izuku is frozen with fear. In his mind, he is thinking, so that's why I'm losing control. One for All is boosting my DNA, making me an actual T-Rex. Izuku speaks, saying, All Might, I have to go. I'll talk to you later. So, what will Izuku do? Will he give back the greatest power given by the greatest hero to keep his dinosaur under control? Or will he find another solution? Tune in next time on What If Deku Was in the Dino Squad, Part 8. Oh man, you have no idea how good it feels to say that phrase again. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed this video, because I sure had a lot of fun doing this, because it has been nearly a month since I've done this What If. I really do hope that you all enjoy, and I hope that anyone who made it to the end of this video has a nice day, and that if you, well, you did make it to the end of this video, but since you did make it this far, and I'm extending it out a bit more, you're definitely #bless. So everyone, good night and goodbye.